2023 NFL Draft coverage on Keon Sports is brought to you by Hinckley Roofing. Founder of Hinckley Roofing, Steve Walkuski Sr., with years of roofing experience, moved to Hinckley, Ohio in 1958, the home of the Buzzards. Steve is looking to build a company driven on service, quality, and integrity. Hinckley Roofing is a family-owned and operated business serving the northern Ohio area since 1958. Mention Keon Sports when you call for a 10% discount. Got you covered Medina, with everything from blinds, custom bedding, and shutters to shades and drapery. They have it all. Check them out online at www.gotchacovered.com/Medina or call them at 330-446-3647. That's 330-446-3647. TNT Construction. TNT Construction is a private family-owned construction company located in Berea. TNT provides residential and commercial remodeling, construction, and building services to clients in Cleveland and all of Northeast Ohio. Pulp North Olmsted. Hey North Olmsted Eagles fans, former NFL player and Eagle alumni Matt Rothram wants to see you at Pulp North Olmsted. This delicious and healthy meal phenomena is exactly what North Olmsted needed. From wraps to bowls to smoothies and everything in between, this is the perfect healthy option for the person on the go. Stop in and taste for yourself at 27650 Lorraine Road in North Olmsted. The store is at the corner of Porter and Lorraine, right around the block from North Olmsted High School. Stop in before the game this week. And JBL Roofing and Construction. JBL was founded by the Lewis family of Kent, Ohio in 2005 to provide residents with a reliable, professional, and high-quality level of service. Fast forward to today, JBL Roofing and Construction has become one of Northeast Ohio's most trusted roofing and siding companies, performing the highest quality of work on over 3,000 roofs and projects. We are at the end of March, coming into April very quickly, which means we are in the heart of draft season here in 2023. And once again, myself, Cole McDaniel, I am back to talk about my prospect rankings for 2023. We're going to go over each position, and I actually stepped up my coverage even more so this year, evaluated well over 200 prospects. And even though I'm going to go over each position one by one like I've done in previous years, at the end of each position group, after about a week and a half, I will put out my full entire big board, all prospects combined together. So again, you're watching and listening here on the Keon Sports YouTube channel. If you have not hit the subscribe button already, I would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. Again, we've continued to grow significantly even since last year, thanks to the fans, the viewers out there. And make sure that also, if you like this video, to share this on all different platforms, Twitter, Facebook. There's a lot that I'm going to go over here with these prospect rankings, and if you know of anybody out there, any friends, family members who want to know about what's happening with the draft upcoming, tell them this is the place to really tune in, see what is happening, and check out my evaluations. Again, we're going to actually start a little bit different this year here for the Cole's Corner prospect rankings. For the 2023 NFL Draft, I decided instead of beginning with the offense here, starting with the quarterbacks as I did last year, we're actually going to start on the defensive side. We're going to talk edge rushers first, so let's dive right in. At number 3, of course you saw the list on KeonSports.com all the way up to number 4. And at number 3, it's Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa. Now, he just edged out Nolan Smith of Georgia here in my rankings for the edge rushers. Smith has a lot of speed, probably one of the fastest edge rushers really in this class coming out, and going to be one of the faster guys coming off of the edge in the NFL. But even though Smith has a lot of ability, and I like his potential, I'm going to say that Lucas Van Ness, with being a younger prospect, has the ability to maybe even take it to another level compared to what we've seen him have, what he's been able to do in college. More of a traditional 4-3 defensive end is Van Ness. He has great length and size. His bull rush ability The ability to collapse the pocket is extremely effective. That's how Van Ness is going to do a lot of his damage. He has the functional power combined with the flexibility to really get around the edge with ease. And at Iowa, he was even at times reduced inside on third downs, which does increase his appeal and versatility. So if you have a guy who can be on the outside, first and second down, and then you can shift him inside, really almost like a defensive tackle spot in pass rushing situations, then that really does increase to that versatility. So I think Van Ness has a high ceiling. Like I said, that's a lot of the reason why he is here at number 3 in these rankings. I think there's a lot more we can see out of him, especially because he even split his time at Iowa. He really wasn't a starter there. He was part of a 7-8 guy rotation, I think, in the NFL. And as he gets more experienced, you might actually see him really play not only just every down, but get a vast majority of the reps for the defense, the system that he's in. I like his motor, but due to his inexperience, there's probably actually a good amount left there in that motor. I don't think there's any chance that he's burnt out at this point. I think he's got a lot of years left in him that he can be successful, and that's exactly what a team will want here. In the NFL, I would like to see him learn some more pass rush moves. That will help take his game to the next level, but Van Ness has a lot of potential. Looking at my player comparison for him, that's Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson, with the Cincinnati Bengals as of late, he's been part of a good crew that probably has been actually a little bit underrated. But Hendrickson and Hubbard have been able to get it done, wreak some havoc in the backfield for Cincinnati, and I think Van Ness has that skill set, the similarities to Hendrickson, and if he can play anything like Hendrickson at the next level, he'll have a very long, sustained career. My projection for Van Ness is he will go somewhere on night 1. Somewhere in the top 20. As for whether he can sneak up into the top 10, I'm not sure. I think that'd be maybe a little bit of a surprise. Maybe he could sneak up there in that 8, 9, 10 range. But I definitely think he will be selected in the top 20. My best fits for Van Ness: Carolina, Philadelphia, and Houston. I think those are all teams where he could be a fit immediately, get time immediately. Maybe Philadelphia is the one where he wouldn't see as much time on the field right away, but they are looking to add a little bit more, as they already had a team that picked up a lot of sacks. I mean, one of the leaders in the NFL as a team last year in sacks. If you can add Van Ness to that group, that would be great. Now, I do have a wild card team. Like always, I like to give a 4th in there, and I think Cleveland would be a good wild card there. Now, they would obviously have to trade up into the first round, and I don't know if Cleveland's going to have the desire to trade up into the first round. He would be a good fit with the Cleveland Browns. I know that Cleveland just got Obo Okoronkwo. They have Myles Garrett. Those are 2 guys that would be starting on the outside. But if they really liked Van Ness well enough, wanted to trade up into the first round, you could have him really split reps with Okoronkwo, which would be huge for Cleveland. Now we turn to number 2. Number 2, Myles Murphy of Clemson. Murphy was one of the top players on a loaded Clemson defensive line. He might not be overly explosive yet, but he showed good enough quickness and speed to be quite productive at the college level. He's tough against the run and has a nose for the football. And ball carriers really need to be aware when he's near, because he can rip that football out of your arms. Force a lot of fumbles at Clemson. You watch his game film, you watch his highlights. There's a ton of clips where you see that football on the ground because Murphy was able to rip that ball away. So he is dangerous when it comes to that, and the NFL teams that are going to be looking at him, scouting him, and the team that selects him, they're going to be intrigued with his ability to rip that football away and that nose for the football that he truly has. Murphy does have a ton of counter moves at his disposal, also has some nice length, which also greatly assists him as a pass rusher and against the run as well. Now the word on the street about Murphy is that he's very well liked as a player and a person, so that's an added bonus when you think about the locker room. So you can't really go wrong when you select Murphy, not only for what he can do on the field, but it sounds like behind the scenes as well. he'd be a good fit with your team. Even though he is disruptive in the backfield, Murphy probably needs to finish a little bit more, finish better on his tackles. A little bit of sloppiness there. Sometimes runners just bounce off of his tackles. If he can wrap up, that is going to help him really hone in and take his game to the next level in the NFL. Really some tightness in his movements, which make him a little bit slower laterally than a lot of the other edge rushers out there. Laterally, he probably moves a little bit more like a defensive tackle, but I don't think that's a huge thing to critique. I just think it's part of his body build, the way that he moves. I don't think it's really going to cause too many problems, but if he can improve his lateral quickness even just slightly, that's going to greatly benefit him. Murphy will start immediately, but ideally as a 4-3 defensive end. That's how he will fit into a scheme. A team that runs a 4-3 system, he's going to be the perfect fit for them. My player comparisons, Emmanuel Ogbah. I think he has that size to really match up with Emmanuel Ogbah, and Jadeveon Clowney as well. And this is more so Clowney's ability against the run. I think Clowney's always been actually pretty good against the run, and Murphy has that same ability as well. So two guys that, good comparisons there for Murphy when it comes to his ability on the field. My projection for him, he'll be a top 15 pick. Certainly has the talent to be a top 10 pick. I don't know if he quite makes it up into the top 10, but you will hear his name called probably in the first half of night one. My best fits for him, Chicago. They're trying to continue to add to that defensive line and build that at the moment. Have a nice young secondary. Really added to the linebacker core in free agency. It's a matter of addressing that defensive line. Murphy would be a nice pickup for them. Houston, they still have a lot of work left to do on that roster. Be a good addition for them. And Detroit, they have Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, and Hutchinson's more of a stand-up hybrid type of defensive end. And in their system, that opposite side defensive end is more of your hand-in-the-dirt run-stopping guy compared to Hutchinson. Murphy would actually be a really good complement being on the opposite side and fill in how they run their system in Detroit. And my wild card is Philadelphia. Of course, similar to what I said about Van Ness possibly going to the Eagles, Philadelphia might look at Murphy as they're sitting in that 10 spot. It might be right in that range where they can select him and they could add another pass rusher, add to all the weapons that they already have on that defense. But they have lost some players, just a matter of continuing to build, continuing to maintain what you had and allowed you to get to the Super Bowl last year. And now we turn to number one. Number one, Will Anderson Jr. of Alabama. And I don't even have to say too much about this without people not being surprised, probably. You will obviously, like I said, see my entire big board, every position combined together, but after I go through all of these prospect rankings. But I'm just going to say it, that Anderson is the number one prospect at any position in this entire draft. The man is a complete animal and may actually be Pro Bowl caliber right away. He's an athletic freak that operates best when standing up on the edge. He wreaks havoc in the backfield and is not just dominant, but rather unblockable at times. He's fast, he's strong, he sniffs out the football and the ball carrier, really wherever they are on the field. And really, I just think he has about everything you can ask for when it comes to looking for a talented edge rusher. He possesses all the skills you would want. Now, due to his name being circled really on every scouting report, he actually didn't go 1v1 versus tackles on true pass sets very often because he got doubled a lot, and Alabama, in order to keep him from getting doubled, they had to really work into their system a way to get him away from those chips, get him away from potential double teams. So they ran a lot of stunts with him and a lot of twists. They really like to move him around at the line of scrimmage, which really benefited him, keeping him away from, like I said, those doubles and those chips and allowing him plenty of opportunities to get into the backfield and rush the passer. So in the NFL, the question is, will Anderson be able to go 1v1 consistently? And will the team that selects him actually expect him to go 1v1 consistently? I think that will be interesting to see, because that's really my only question I have with Anderson. Now, he probably fits best as a 3-4 outside linebacker, but he could certainly play as a hybrid 4-3 defensive end, but I think he's best when his hand's not in the dirt. When he's standing up, I think he gets a little bit quicker of a jump off of the snap. I would love to see him, though, moved around. If he can be used like a chess piece for your team, for your defense, a lot like how he was used at Alabama, then I see endless opportunities for him to make a name for himself in the NFL. My player comparisons for Anderson: TJ Watt. He has the explosiveness, he has the strength. I think he can be up with Watt's name every year in that conversation for some of the best edge rushers in the NFL. And also Aiden Hutchinson. Like I said, Hutchinson is a guy that is more of a stand-up guy, but he can put his hand in the dirt if necessary. I think Anderson has some similarities in the style that he plays, similar to Aiden Hutchinson. Anderson's a top 5 pick, and honestly, talent-wise, he should be number 1 overall. But there are quarterback-needy teams that are sitting there in that top 10, and Carolina, they traded up to the first pick, presumably for a quarterback. So Anderson will go early on night 1. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in the top 5, maybe even all the way down at number 5, especially if anybody trades down. Watch out for some teams, as I look at the best fits here. Watch out for the Arizona Cardinals there in the top 5. I think that might be the best fit for Anderson, because he'd get to be a stand-up outside linebacker. I think that would be huge for him. Seattle would also be a great fit for him, and Pittsburgh would be as well. Now, Pittsburgh sitting down there farther, they'd have to probably trade up to get to Anderson, because I don't see him dropping far enough for Pittsburgh to make the move. But if they like him enough, maybe they decide to come up and take Anderson. But I don't think it's as big of a need for them, so I don't expect them to make that move. My wild card team, the Los Angeles Chargers. If you can put Anderson opposite of Bosa, I think that would be huge. I mean, they've had good edge rushers. The Chargers have had in the past few years. If you can just add Anderson, that's another piece that you can add to your defense, especially when you're chasing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the division. Now that's going to do it here for day 1 of these prospect rankings. The edge rushers, we got to cover these guys. It is a fun class. It is a deep group. You saw all the prospects I talked about. Over 30 edge rushers that I put in the article combined with this video as well. Again, if you just came straight to YouTube and watched this video, saw these highlights, heard me talking about the top 3 guys, in my opinion, in this class, then make sure you still go over to KeonSports.com and check out the 2023 Edge Rusher Prospect Rankings. That's up there with a paragraph on each prospect, where I think their best fits are, their player comparisons, and where I expect them to be selected, what range come the NFL draft this year. Defensive tackles coming up tomorrow. Make sure to tune in for that. We'll be right back here on the Keon Sports YouTube channel and KeonSports.com.